Ministry of Information and Broadcast has issued an advisory effectively banning channels from showing condom ads all day. These ads can now be shown between 10 in the night and 6 in the morning. The reason cited by the government is that these ads are indecent, especially for children. Two existing rules have been cited to implement the advisory. One that says that no ad which endangers the safety of children or creates in them any interest in unhealthy practices should be shown. The second rule states that indecent, vulgar, suggestive, repulsive or offensive themes or treatment shall be avoided in all advertisements. Now, there has been a wide-ranging debate on whether this is a fair decision considering promoting safe sex should be the priority of any government. The other point of view, of course, is it fair for young children to have to see condom ads? Now, to speak more on these issues, I'm joined this evening by former Secretary for Health and Family Welfare, Sujata Rao, on the phone line from Hyderabad. We also have Shweta Purandare, Secretary General of the Advertising Standards Council of India, and Brand Strategy Specialist Harish Bijur is joining in on this conversation. Welcome all. Shweta, I'm going to start with you because the ASCI has been receiving a number of complaints, and some media outlets are reporting that that is one of the triggers for the ministry to issue this advisory. Is that the case?
You're right. ASCI in the recent past has received several complaints from consumers. Not only that, consumers have also reached out to the ministry directly, and Ministry of Information and Broadcasting forwards such complaints to us for our Consumer Complaints Council to look into it. The issue is twofold. Firstly, related to the content of the advertisement as such. That's where ASCI, our role comes in. Secondly, it's related to the placement of these ads, the timing and the channels, which is not within ASCI's scope. So, when Consumer Complaints Council of ASCI saw these ads, in the context of condom commercials, they did not find anything objectionable with these ads, and the complaints were not upheld. And complainants were naturally very upset because many of them felt that these ads are being aired during family viewing hours and small children are watching. Some of the content of the ad is not suitable for children. It may be suitable for adults. So from our side, we have recommended that this is a decision that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting needs to take, whether they want to set some watershed hours. It's like it's an international practice being followed. So if ads having content which is suitable for adults, not suitable for children, those ads could be aired between say 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, so you are effectively in favor of this timing, and you think it's a fair point to air these ads between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Because the advertisers have two choices. If they want, if they take cognizance of all these complaints, because it's out there in the public domain, the public outcry against these ads. So either they tone down the condom advertisement so that there are no complaints specific to the content of the ad, or if they want to continue with the current bold advertisements, if they wish to, they have the choice of using the watershed hours.
All right, so tone down or shift your content to 10 in the night. So that's a very clear point of view from ASCI. Sujata Rao is on the phone line with us. Ma'am, I'd really like to know your point of view because if you look at what kind of patterns India follows, and I have some data from 2015 to 2016, and this is government data, which shows that condom usage in India between urban and rural India is still at 5.2% as methods of family planning. This is among all the methods, one of the least used is condoms. Of course, pills and IUD are even less, but female sterilization still is at 37%. Looking at this as a health issue, as a public health issue, where would you stand on this debate?
Condoms have never been a very favored contraceptive device, and sterilization has always been very dominant in India, and it continues to be so. But even the 5% is not really so bad. Of course, not comparable to China, where it is about 70%. But the routinization and the normalization of condom use really came in the HIV epidemic context. And what is more worrying than as a family planning device, I would lay emphasis on the need for transmitting information on condom use for ensuring that youngsters who do indulge in unprotected sex, whether you like it or not, that's a fact, do not get themselves infected by sexually transmitted infections, particularly like HIV, which has no cure. So I think, it's a young people's disease. It is a sexually transmitted disease. It shortens life, and it is something that we should be very aware of, because we are a very young country, and I think and condom is the only way you can ensure that these infections don't transmit from one person to another. And in my opinion, there should be much more aggressive campaigning on the use of condom than what they're doing now. Look at China. China, about 70-75% population uses condom for various reasons, and they have CDs, they have how to use a condom instructive manuals, which are distributed and sold openly to all age groups. Brazil has condom vending machines in their high schools. So I think this business of being coy and shy and calling ourselves a conservative society is all nonsense, because days are passing, and the times have changed, and youngsters are seeing porn, and they're seeing so much of vulgar nonsense on movies. Condom ads, of course, one thing is there could be a situation where the ads have been done tastelessly and they're vulgar. Well, then certainly they should not be aired. But I know that we ran a very aggressive campaign, the DG NACO, and they were funny ads, they were wonderful ads, they were accepted all across, and we raised the utilization tremendously by over 200 to 300%. So I don't buy this argument that condom ads should be banned at all. I think it's very, very important and very critical that people should get to know about it.
In that context, then we come to the key question about the kind of ad. And here's where you come in, Mr. Harish Bijur. The problem is with the content of the ad. Make it an informative ad, say some. If you make it a sexy ad, then don't show it when kids can watch, is the counter argument.
Well, guys, there are some points that need to be understood. And the first point is the point to say that, the condom should be a national cause in a country like India. And the second point is, guys, this is 2017, we're well nearly in 2018. The third point is that the condom is a very, very protective measure. And I think, it's extremely important for the young and the reckless. Now, guys, we can't keep this as a closet subject at all, because, if you keep it as a closet subject, off we go. So if you look at advertising today, advertising can be done in a dull format and interesting format. Guess what? When done in a dull format, nobody ever watches it. But when done in an interesting format, you have eyeballs, you have percolation, you have awareness converting into interest, and the interest into the desire of actually partaking of the product. So, very simply speaking, I think, this is misplaced contraception. I think we should really be talking content, yes, but don't talk slots. Because making condom advertising an adult slot, a late night slot, I think it's totally counterproductive. This nation needs condoms. This nation needs sex education for children above the age of 10. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to push those very children out of the ambit of this kind of awareness.
Okay, Shweta, I think you should respond to that. Harish Bijur argues that children above the age of 10 should know what a condom is and why it's needed.
So firstly, ASCI has never asked for a ban on condom advertisements, and we strongly believe that information is required, education is required. How is it done is, I think, the moot question, because even the current ads most of them the ASCI has not considered to be objectionable in the context of a condom. So I think people are also confusing this issue of condom ads versus sex education, and I think the methods in which both these are done, you know, the communication are very different, and condom ads have been aired for years together, and this kind of uproar,
one would argue, why should sex education,
the uproar has happened only recently, you know. No, what I'm saying is this issue has come up only a year or 1.5 years ago. You know, before that condom ads were being aired. So, and we are acting on complaints received from
I have very little time, but I want to get as many points of view in.
People are coming out to us.
Harish has a quick counter.
Well, I'll put it this way, you know, sex education can be done in degrees. It can be done in a completely boring manner, as I did say earlier. It could be done at a level manner, and it could be done in an exciting manner. Guess what works beautifully in this country? Anything that gets the biggest eyeballs, anything that is done with a certain degree of excitement works in this country. Tea is sold in this country in 3 formats. The very boring tea, and the slightly more exciting tea, and then finally the tea which you drink after it drinks, you know, the entire sofa starts levitating. And that's hyperbole which is actually used. My view would be we must have one common standard for all advertising, whether it be skincare, whether it be for tea or for condoms. Control the content, but don't go after the slots.
You know, just one last counter, Shweta, because you represent ASCI, is a lot of people have raised the question,
yes,
what about deodorant ads, which talk a lot about, you know, some kind of sexual tension? Aren't those harmful for children? On those lines, some people have made points about what about ads promoting unhealthy eating? Isn't that harmful for children? So where will one draw the line?
So to that, my point is self-regulation is the best regulation. You know, if advertisers are more conscious of how the brand is being perceived, how the kind of responses the ad is generating in masses, I think if they take that into consideration, most of the problem gets solved. You know, there is no need for any intervention by any regulator if self-regulation works. So we do take complaints against other categories such as lingerie, for example, or deodorants, and in some cases we have upheld complaints because in the context of the advertisement, the ad was found to be in violation of our chapter 2, which talks about decency. So we do take cognizance of that.
All right. I'll have to end it there because we've completely run out of time. But Sujata Rao, Shweta and Harish Bijur, thank you so much for joining us on this conversation this evening. Should condom ads be restricted? Well, they are for now. Does that stop the government from promoting safe sex? Well, definitely not. Thank you so much for joining us on Primetime Debate this evening.